Hello and welcome to this awesome panel. Netflix has assembled to talk all things Lock and Key Season 2, which is coming to Netflix on October 22nd. Joining me today are executive producers Carlton Cuse, Meredith Averill, and Gabriel Rodríguez. And we have three of the Locke family members. We have Darby Stanchfield as Nina, Connor Jessup as Tyler, and Emilia Jones as Kinsey Locke. Thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And just let you know, later in the show, the producers are going to stick around so we can answer some more questions, but we're also going to be joined by the Season 2 villains. That's Griffin Gluck as Gabe and Hallea Jones as Eden. So make sure to stick around for that. But I want to get right into it. For the producers, I'd love to know, what can you tell us about Season 2? What can we expect in Lock and Key Season 2?
I think in Season 2, we just took the volume and turned it up to 11. I mean, we just tried to make everything bigger, more dramatic, more exciting. We really got to know the characters in the show in the first season. And I think Meredith and I really tried to sort of take that knowledge and really just amp up the storytelling in the second season.
There were some wonderful set pieces in Season 1. I mean, the one that comes to mind, of course, in my head is the scene with the shadows in the finale. Just awesome. I was wondering if you can speak to, will we see more exciting set pieces like that in Season 2?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because we're dialing it all up, it's just so much more intense. If you've seen the trailer, then you know that there is a sequence with a spider that Mr. Connor Jessup can speak to. Is how very scary that is. And it's something that Gabriel Rodríguez knows a lot about because it actually comes directly from the comic. But we have just so many intense action-packed sequences that we can't wait for everyone to see.
And Gabriel, I have a question for you. I have my, some of my books here, Lock and Key graphic novels here. I got these at Comic-Con in 2014. This is one of the Comic-Con editions right here. I was wondering, Is there anything from the books that that you wanted to, that you were excited to see that you could change or maybe add on to in the Netflix story that you didn't get to do in the books?
I think one of the great things about the Netflix show is that these guys, this creative family that has tackled the Lock and Key series, they are so inventive and so creative and so driven by their passion for the story and characters that they have found ways to take these characters and this mythology and turn it into completely new directions in the show. So one of the things that's refreshing and exciting for me as a viewer of the show is that even I, that I'm one of the creators of a graphic novel, I'm constantly surprised for the spin they gave to the concept, to the characters and the locations of the story. So yeah, I think people that love the comics and the graphic novels are going to realize that there are lots of elements of the books in the show, but they are all come to life in new ways. And that's one of the most exciting things of it for me.
Really cool. And I want to move to the Locke family. Connor, Emilia, and Darby. I'm just curious to learn more about what the Locke family dynamic is like in Season 2. It seemed like at the end of Season 1, after those just crazy events in the finale, you guys were closer than ever. Seems like this was going to be, even though there's a lot of crazy things that I'm guessing are going to happen in Season 2, it seemed like your family unit was really strong. And Darby, as the matriarch, I'd love to start with you.
It changes again in Season 2, the dynamic of the Locke family. Something that I can speak to that the whole family experiences, especially myself and Kinsey and Tyler, Connor and Emilia, are love and loss, like experiencing it again after Rendell's death. There is more, there's more of a theme of that they each go through personally. And some of that they experience together, and some of it is very isolating. And that was really interesting to shoot during a pandemic when we were all very isolated. These moments of isolation that come up for all of us, whether it's one of the Locke kids and they're in their own trouble and they can't talk about it because if that's the way they deal with it, or Nina because she can't see the magic. There's different sort of forms of isolation. So it's a rocky, crazy time for the family. And to speak of what Carlton said, it's dialed up to 11. So on top of the family drama, it's like it's like Marvel. There's just like action and special effects that are beyond. It's just really stunning.
And Connor and Emilia, can you speak to your characters in season 2?
I mean, I think a lot happens over the course of season 2.
Yeah, at the beginning, I think we're all having fun with the keys, which is quite nice.
I think we all at the beginning, when we started shooting season 2, it was for the first couple episodes, there was this feeling of like, what's going on? Like, is something different? Is something, what's different than last year? And we realized that it was because we all liked each other in the show. Like, everyone's getting along.
Yeah.
Tyler and Kinsey aren't fighting. We have scenes where we're enjoying each other's company.
We're enjoying the keys too.
Like you said, like you find the lock at the end of season 1, the Locks feel like they've won and they've worked through some of the emotional baggage that they were carrying, each in their own ways. So you find them at the beginning of season 2 doing pretty well, individually and with each other, which was new for us and fun.
Yeah, it was really fun to play.
It changes.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of the show, the Locks are also kind of figuring out what it means to be the new keepers of the keys.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the producers, Carlton or Meredith or Gabe, if you can speak to some of the new keys that we're going to see. I mean, obviously the keys are awesome. Again, going back to my time at Comic-Con, I remember going to the IDW booth and they had keys you could buy, replicas, of course, but I remember I bought a few of them just because I just love looking at them. And I was wondering if you could, are there any keys you can hint at or tell us what we're going to see in season 2?
Yeah, this season we have, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen that the Small World key is a part of this new season. You see a brand new key that Gabe has created, Gabe the character, not Gabriel Rodríguez, who's here with us. We're not going to spoil what that key is, but if you've seen it, you can probably imagine that it looks like it's not a key that does good things. But it was fun coming up with brand new keys, but also introducing keys from the comic. And Gabriel actually designed one of the new keys that we're not going to spoil here, but that you'll see in the season.
I was wondering, Connor, I wanted to jump back to you. I'm not sure how much you can say, of course, without giving away too many spoilers, but in the comic books, there's this thing called the rifle rule, which is like you're a little worried as you get older, you're worried about losing your ability to remember magic, and that whole thing. So I was wondering, is that a threat in season 2? Does that come up at all? I'm just curious. I know that you're getting older. You're approaching the 18. You're getting ready to graduate high school.
Yeah, it's shocking, right? I know. It's hard to believe. Yeah, I mean, in season 1, when we meet Tyler, he's already 17. So looming over him, I mean, when they start playing with the keys, they don't know about this rule, but they learn pretty quickly because of Nina and because of other adults in their lives that there's something about the magic of these keys doesn't stick to adults. They can see them in the moment, but then it slides off. And he realizes quickly at the beginning of season 2, him and Jackie, that they're both on the precipice of becoming adults. And they don't know exactly what that means or exactly how it will work or how it will happen, but he knows that it means they're going to forget. And if they forget magic, if they forget the keys, they forget everything that goes along with it, all the emotional, all the catharsis that comes along with it, all the fun, all the memories they have. And he becomes very, very set on finding a way to prevent that from happening for him and for Jackie and for Kinsey and Bodhi and for everyone. And that's a big part of his journey in season 2.
And Gabriel, I want to go to you. I know I rewatched the season 1 finale again, just to refresh my memory. And I think I missed this the first time I watched it, but you and Joe Hill, of course, you created this great, awesome, amazing story that the series is based on, having a cool cameo in the season 1 finale as the paramedics. Should fans be looking out for you in season 2? If you can reveal that, should we keep our eyes open?
Well, I can't reveal anything about it right now because I know Carlton is working on a series spin-off of Lock and Key. It's going to be amazing. We don't want to announce it yet because the 2 hottest EMTs of Madison, Massachusetts are becoming
this is the launch of the Emmy campaign.
Yes.
I'm not going to tease anything about that, but what I'm going to say is that the COVID crisis certainly saved the show for Netflix. So I guess we're going to find another ways to be around the show in the upcoming seasons. And so far, I think it's in pretty good hands with the production and creative crew of the Lock and Key show. Yeah. It was great to be there. I guess we were put in that last scene just to see if the series survived our cameo. So the job all these guys did was so good that even survived us. And that's a huge statement on the quality of the show.
Plus, after you trashed your trailers, I'm not sure we would have you back.
The hotel damages alone.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a very special reason of why there's a character named Joe in the show and another named Gabe in the show, and we both know how they are. So that's a hint.
Wow.
That's cool. It's really cool. There's not here right now, but I couldn't leave without asking in on Jackson. I mean, his endearing portrayal of Bodhi was one of the many highlights of season 1. I think just brought out that inner kid in me. I know I just loved watching him. He was just dynamic on screen. And I just want to know, Carlton or Meredith, if you give us a little update on Bodhi's character and what he's going to be up to in season 2. Is going to be getting into more mischief and discovering more keys.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to see a lot more from Jackson this season, and he's really matured. And, he gives a really emotional performance. He gets to go to places he didn't get to go in season 1. So I think you're really going to see much more depth from him this season. And he's just terrific. He's so fun.
And for the Locke family, so I was just curious about the house. Of course, I'm watching this and I think I have my inside information and I think like, oh, it's just a set somewhere. It's got to be. But the house feels so lived in, the Key house. It feels like it came straight off the pages of the book. I just love looking. What's it like to just be in the house? And I mean, do you get that sense as well when you're filming? I was just curious if you could talk about the design of it and the set a little bit. I was just curious about the creation of it.
Go for it.
I mean, the set was designed by Rory Shane, who's a wonderful production designer, and it's very practically laid out. So when you're in it, it's not like you feel very much like you're in the house, and I think that's an important part of the kind of the characters that you can move around from room to room without sort of kind of breaking the fourth wall and realizing you're on a set.
Yeah.
But you guys spend so much time there.
At the same time, Key House is gigantic, so it takes up 2 different stages, maybe 3, and an exterior. So our relationship to the space it's massive. So the work is done for us. We don't have to really pretend the enormity of it or the power of it. It's just already built for us. And the patina was all there from season 1, and the wear from the many years, and the detail. There are KH for Key House, like carved everywhere. There are little keys in the tiles. There are details. There's a stained glass window. There's a little man falling out of the boat, a really dark little detail that no one will ever see, but that's like, there are hundreds of them everywhere. It's the most incredible set.
And also because we shot seasons 2 and 3 back to back, we were able to plant things that don't even become part of the show until season 3 in season 2. So when you're watching season 2, in the background unnoticed will be things
Easter
that become very important later in the show.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. That's really cool. I just want to thank you for answering all of my questions. I'm a huge fan. Can't wait to watch all of season 2 on October 22nd. Darby, Connor, and Emilia, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
The producers are going to, producers are going to stick around and hang out with me a little longer. And we're going to welcome in Griffin Gluck and Hallea Jones to talk to the villains.
Bye,
Bye,
Darby.
guys.
Bye, Emilia.
So great
Bye.
to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
And joining us for our second round of interviews, we still have the producers on deck with us. And then also joining us is Griffin Gluck as Gabe and Hallea Jones as Eden, the season 2 villains. Hallea, I kind of want to start with you. Again, I don't know if you're sworn to secrecy or how much you can tell us, but can you tell us a little bit about your character in season 2 now that you're being possessed by this new demon? Like, how is that change your character's personality? Like, did you have to act different? Can you talk us through like your process about becoming this new character? Or are you pretty much the same? Like, what's happening with you in season 2?
Oh boy. There are not many words that I mean, there are so many words that I could say about Eden, but she, in as little of time as possible, is having a lot of fun. A lot of fun, but also still keeping to her strengths of just like what her heart wants. And she's just having a lot of fun, and I enjoyed playing her second season so much. There's a lot of really great content to be seen.
A little mystery there. And Griffin, going to you, what's it like for you to play these, I guess, you know, like Hallea, these multiple personalities? You know, you have to, you're Kinsey's boyfriend, you know, and then, but on top of that, we know as, you know, viewers that you're also Dodge. So, I mean, again, with your character, I'm just curious, like, do you have little subtleties that you worked on your own to kind of differentiate yourself? Or did you work on that with Meredith and Carlton just through the script? I'm just curious how that all worked out.
You know, honestly, Meredith and Carlton and the whole writing team made my job very easy. It's always a lot of fun when you can walk on a set and the writing's so good that you can just play it naturally and have fun with it. And the writing kind of does the work for you. Mm-hmm. But I would say, honestly, season 1, I got to play around a lot more with the whole, no one knows I'm a demon, but I am evil. And I'm going to like find some subtleties in some weird places so that you know, upon a rewatch or something, or at the end of the first season, people could be like, oh, wow, you know, he was acting a little funny, a little weird. But I'd say season 2, I really just kind of, I got to have fun, you know. I've never played a character like this before. I've never played the bad guy, really. And I really got to just kind of, you know, figure that out throughout season 2, throughout just having this experience of playing Gabe, of playing, you know, the bad guy and having fun and being evil, which was a huge challenge for me because I'm like 100 pounds. I don't think I'm a very threatening person. So, you know, it was fun to figure that out. And then, you know, playing, you know, I love Connor, I love Emilia, I love Hallea. And so, you know, when I got to be with Connor and Emilia and I had to put on the good, you know, good boy act, that was, you know, really, they made it really easy on me. And when I was with Hallea, we both got to tap into this like evil side, which was, you know, fun.
And Griffin just, you know, was a fantastic bad guy. I mean, it's different than other stuff that he had done, I think. And
Definitely.
We were really excited to see him as an actor sort of embrace this role. And I think he brought to it, you know, kind of both sort of an authenticity, but also this kind of really great, larger than life quality. And it's a fine line to walk where, you know, you're trying to sort of imbue this character with some, you know, color and some dynamism, but also not get too over the top. And I think that he just nailed it.
That is a huge compliment. Wow. Thank you.
I was wanting to follow up on that, Carlton, or either, you know, Hallea or Griffin, if you have a story about this. Is there any time during filming where did you go for it a little too much? Like, I'm sure they gave you freedom to kind of express yourself. Like, did you go a little too evil? They had to kind of pull you back a little bit, or was there any stories like that?
I had bruises from just like the kind of craziness that not from Griffin being, you know, anything more than what was, you know, safe, but just how far we pushed it in the way of really dedicating ourselves to that fun play of the evil, and really going for it physically as well as mentally and emotionally, of just like really going for it together. And I really loved working with Griffin because he's literally like one of the sweetest humans I've ever met, but he plays evil so well, which I think it's a crazy contrast. And I find a lot of times some of the people who play the craziest characters are some of the most chill people. But yeah, we really went intense on a few scenes, and anyone who watches season 2 will know exactly the ones. I have pictures to show, like some fun bruises that I have good memories attached to. They're gone now, but back then.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a spoiler. I mean, I'll say it in the least spoilery way possible. I'm sure everyone knows that there's definitely action sequences in season 2. So as that's pretty much all I'll say in terms of spoilers. But yeah, just like, you know, build off of what Hallea was saying, there were a lot of action sequences where I was like, damn, this is like, I feel bad right now. Some kicks, some punches that might have gotten like a little close. And I was like, I'm scared.
It was really fun to play the dynamic between Griffin and I, because Gabe is just, I mean, he's not the nicest human, or Echo. He's just, especially with Eden, because Eden's kind of like a little bit of a little puppy to him at first, kind of just, you know, she's new demon, she's figuring it out, and he's kind of like, well, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And it was fun to play that dynamic together. And there were many times where we're like, okay, let's just go for it. I'm like, it's okay. When the camera stops rolling, I know you're gonna be like, you like, is everything all right? I'm like, yeah, go for it. We're acting, we're having fun, we're being crazy, murderous demon people. Like, it's great. So I had a lot of fun with him. Yeah.
Did you know, you have of course you know, Gabe Rodríguez on the call too. He's just done some incredible art, you know, for the you know, the comic book series. Were you when you did season 1, or were you familiar with the book at all, or did, like, once you filmed it or while you're filming, like, oh, I want to check this out or read it, or did you want to like not look at it and just, you know, let the script inform you that way?
So everyone started reading it, you know, they were familiarizing themselves with their characters. I know that Connor and Emilia, and, you know, pretty much everyone was. So I tried to figure out Gabe a little bit, just like character wise, or kind of what I envisioned him as, I guess, being selfish. And then I ended up going back and reading the books and seeing, you know, where, you know, he could fit in this world, or how he could fit. And, you know, IDW and Netflix were so kind. They sent me like all of the books, which was great. And awesome. I have them all on a shelf in my room.
Well, both Gabe and Eden are characters that were created by the wonderful Meredith and Carlton and the crew that sit in the writer's room. And I feel like we had a lot of opportunity to play with that. As awesome as it would be, Gabriel, draw us. As fun as it would be to be comic book characters, I think it just, like, it kind of took the pressure off of being that character in the comic books and allowed us to play and play and play and develop. And I mean, as Griffin said earlier, the writer room did such an amazing job of creating these characters that we didn't really have to try too hard.
And
as a creator of the comic, I would add that looking at the entire creative process of the show from outside, every time I've been there, and then watching the show itself and knowing all these people involved in the project, I think one of the strengths of the show is that you can actually feel in the screen how comfortable everyone from the production, filming crew, acting crew, and the writers, they do feel like they are enjoying this, and everything feels natural from them. So in a way, everyone feels comfortable in this world, and they are enjoying their part in them, and they interact in a way that feels natural. And I think that's one of the greatest achievements, creatively speaking, about the show, because having said that, they changed a lot of things from the comic book itself. And our League of Villains right here is one of the best examples of this. In the comic, we have a single bad guy that was a very focused character. All the evil was concentrated around him. And here we're exploring it through new characters that nevertheless feel like a natural part of this world. So I think that's fascinating, because it's one of the ways in which you not only engage everyone making the show and the audience of the show, but also you can capture the curiosity of the watchers that are also familiar with the Locke and Key mythology from the books, and to be equally surprised and fascinating for them.
I think it's really incredible. If you don't mind following up, Carlton or Meredith, I was just curious, like, would you mind talking a little bit about those changes in the story and creating these new characters for the story? Because I agree with Gabe. I think it's with Gabriel, I think it's fascinating that I have these, you know, graphic novels sitting here, this collection that I get to read, but then when I watch this, I not only get that's part of that story as well, but also kind of a different story in a way, which I think is really cool. So I was just curious, how do you guys work that out in the scripts?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in the comic, there's actually a different character named Zach Wells that is has sort of the teenager that's kind of found his way in Kinsey's friend group that you don't realize is actually someone else. So we wanted to kind of take that idea and create a brand new character so that people from even the comic book readers would be surprised by that, you know, cliffhanger reveal at the end that actually Dodge all along was Gabe. And then we're just big fans of shows where the villain, you have sort of a different villain every season. I think that sometimes it can get kind of tired if you're watching a show and season after season after season, that villain doesn't change. And so we love the idea of in season 2, you know, really kind of turning, even though Dodge is still very much, you know, still around, now Dodge is Gabe, and Gabe has his or her own sort of personality and own mission and own dimension, and then adding Eden to that just to have them be their own sort of like delicious evil dynamic duo, and being able to also follow along with them throughout the season, for the audience to have this like dramatic irony of the audience knows that Gabe is Dodge, and every scene that he's in with Kinsey, you're just like, no. For the audience's enjoyment of that for a portion of the season, I'm not going to say for how long, is super fun. And their dynamic together, I mean, they've talked a lot about how intense and scary and violent it can get, but it's also quite funny. They have great comedy chops, and there is something very funny about the fact that Eden is a brand new demon who's just like soaking up every part of what Gabriel and Joe call meat world, and enjoying it and eating all the things and like loving all of it. And she's reckless. She like has no rules, where Dodge, Gabe, has rules. So it's the fun dynamic between the two of them. The Dodge is just over her. Because she is not obedient. She is not listening to anything that he's saying. So in addition to it being really intense and scary and between them, there's also moments where we get some levity out of it, which are some of our favorite scenes.
And I was wondering, before I let all you go, I'd love to know, again, Carlton or Meredith, just are we going to learn a little bit more about the supernatural history surrounding Key House? I've just always been fascinated by everything about Key House, and just the, like, why is it the way it is? What's up with the big door down there with all the blue light and the demon shooting out, like, you know, like what's going on there? Are we going to learn a little more about that in season 2?
Yeah, we learned a lot more about the mythology in season 2, and you know, Gabriel and Joe invented this incredible world, and the mythology is so rich, and we just felt like we'd be doing a disservice to the story if we didn't lay some of that out, and also the history of how far back it goes. And so they have a much deeper mythology even in the comic books, but we did get to some of that, and then we sort of fit that into the story that we're telling, because the show is not the same as the comic book exactly. But we are very beholden to Joe and Gabe for incredible history and legacy of mythology that we really drew on to tell our story.
And last question, I got to go to Gabriel. I'm just curious. I've seen on social media that you and Joe have a new Lock and Key series that's ongoing called Hell and Gone, that's set in the Sandman universe, which is another show coming to a Netflix soon. Gabe, would that be a good place for people to start, or should they go to the very beginning with book 1?
Well, the thing is that the story that we're doing in Hell and Gone with Joe Hill is a story set in the past of the Locke family. It's with Chamberlain Locke and his family. It's a little arc that we sort of developed in parallel with the main Lock and Key story and mythology. And we started the first short story back in 2010. And we just finished with Hell and Gone. It's going to be the 7th volume of the collection, but it's with an entire new cast, a new set of characters, but in the same Key House and same mythology. So in a way, it's a friendlier place to come into the concepts of Lock and Key for new readers, I guess. And for us, it was a very exciting and very personally important project, because the Sandman comics back from the 90s was one of the main reasons why we felt love in comics storytelling. Both Joe and myself, we were huge fans of the original comic books from Vertigo Comics back then. So having had the chance to do a story of Lock and Key set in the Sandman universe that allow us in a way to pay our respect to all the creators and the stories that inspired us to do what we do, and to be able to tell a very important point in the story of the Locke family in this story was amazing. So I would say it's especially a great point to dive into what the Lock and Key mythology can be, because it basically exploits everything that we have developed in the last, I don't know, 15 years, developing this story and these characters and this universe. And it was a great experience where we're very happy that the second and final part of that story just came out, and the new collected book is going to be hitting shelves very soon, I hope.
Oh, thanks for that. And thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I really appreciate talking about Lock and Key Season 2, which everyone can watch on Netflix on October 22nd.